Hey there, everyone. Today we are back and we're going to be talking about something a little different. We're going to be talking about my books. So we're going to be talking about stuff that I have stories in. Just a few things. These are all the Orphan Parish releases. And I'm going to talk about these because they're the latest things I have published, mostly. And, I don't think I've talked about them that much on this channel before. I think I've talked to people who watch my channel before, separately, outside of YouTube, and they're like, "I didn't know you wrote stuff." I'm like, "Fuck, I thought I was talking about that shit on my channel. Guess not." But anyway, let's look at some of my books. So first thing we got here is Old Gory. Now, this is kind of a gag. It's called Old Gory, it's two stories. It's a chapbook, one by me and one by Tom Breen, and it's flag horror. That might sound strange, but it's two horror stories that are related to flags in some way. So if you look at this cover, here's the back. It's this cover is kind of a gag. It's a joke altogether because first the title is Old Gory, which is kind of a joke on Old Glory, meaning the flag. But also when we decided to we'd planned this cover, the idea was to put things that were the most cliche horror things you could ever think of to put on a cover. And we came up with something bloody, a skull, and a pentagram. So let me show you those because on the back cover you can see them all. So the white stripes of the flag, if you look closely, are all skulls. It's just they're all skulls. It's just skulls inside the white flag. So this is I carved the stamp. I made this cover. It's mine. But the stars, pentagrams, the red stripes are supposed to resemble some type of dripping blood. It's it's a thing. But this book, I really like this book. I really like the story I have in it also. But it's a good one. The Tom story also in here, great. So both good stuff. And here we have another strange themed chapbook. This one's a little bit thicker. It's got 4 people. So this is Letters of Decline. Again, this is like a weird, if you see the cover here, it's like a weird-ass group of 3 dudes looking over a resume on a table. This has stories by, of course, me, Matthew M. Bartlett, who is a pretty big horror writer, Jonathan Rabb, also a well-known hand, Sean M. Thompson also. So there's 4 people. Well, 3 people and then me. So 4 people total. And Letters of Decline is a collection of stories based on job interviews. So these are horror stories related to job interviews in some way. So my story in here I particularly like. It's quite good, I think. If I must say so myself, but in the review, we the reviews of it are also very complimentary of my story. So another one, we have another strange themed one. This is the last strange themed one. This is 3 Moves of Doom. You can see there's a story by Tom Breen, a story by me, and a story by, again, Matthew M. Bartlett, who is, again, pretty well-known horror writer these days. 3 Moves of Doom is a story where each story is a horror story based on wrestling. So they're wrestling-related horror stories. They're all, you'd imagine that there'd be a lot of wrestling matches in these, but I don't. But the stories are all rather different in tone, and it actually makes a cool thing. This cover is I also really like is I did this out of cut paper. So the paper isn't, this image is actually made of cut paper. The previous one on Letters of Decline is painted on canvas, but 3 Moves of Doom is cut paper, and I really like how it came out. So after that, we've got Little Oren and the Noises. Now, Little Oren and the Noises is a picture book. It's if anybody has seen my comic Silkworms, it's similar in style. Um, this I really put a lot of work into, and it didn't pan out in a way that like the art is really washed out. So like, I wish I'd remembered to bring the originals, because like if you look at this cover, like the back paneling on this thing is like really washed out in white. In the actual watercolor, this is done in watercolor and ink. It's quite vivid. So the background, it looks more wooden. I think there's better examples in the book of how it should look. So here, like inside this room, the wood looks like that. It should look like that on the cover, but it doesn't. So what happens is that it's a bit washed out. So like here's that page. It's washed out in a way that's not so hot. But you'll see like later on there's lots of strange imagery. This book is full of it's 30 pages or so of strange art, and a kind of weird, somewhat horror tale. So this one, quite good. If you're interested in this, it's not online, but my comic is also online. It's very similar style of art and kind of similar themes. That's at Silkworms. I'll put links to all this stuff below if you guys are really interested in it. So the last thing here is my full book. This is All Lights Will Forever After Be Dim. It's a collection of short stories. I'm not sure how many are in here total. 15 maybe, but it's actually more than that. It's more like 25, but there's 10 that are exceedingly short. They're only 1 page each. But this book, All Lights Will Forever After Be Dim, the main part of it is short, weird fiction, so weird horror fiction. Weird fiction is a genre, like a subgenre of horror, kind of. It's kind of its own thing. But All Lights Will Forever After Be Dim is a horror collection. Mostly based in Japan, hence the cover is like a Japanese flag, sort of, with a kind of city scene running along the bottom here. Now, this book is, it's 200 or so pages, 230 pages about. And it's got, the way it's set up is that it's many stories of Japan. So they're horror stories that look into different kind of like areas of Japan and seasons of Japan. They're very like intertwined with the areas and the seasons. So it's all about like kind of grungy underworld areas of Japan and weird kind of obsessive people and obsessive things. So this book, to talk about it more, is like kind of a culmination of a lot of experiences I've had in Japan. And not that I've had horror experiences, but like some of these stories are based on like, strange things I've thought of while being in Japan. Or, you'll be walking along the street one day and you'll see something strange and it kind of sparks an idea for a story. That's like what a lot of this book is. So you'll often get things I called fragments in here, which is really, they're just kind of flash fiction. They're mostly like 3 or 4 paragraphs of a complete story for the most part. And then you'll have, and for this thing, also, if you're interested in any of the previous books except for Little Oren, is the stories by me in these 3 books are also in this book. So at the end of this book, you can find those 3 stories as well. So it's kind of a nice collection. Also, at the end of this book, there is a selection of explanations about each story. So it'll tell you about kind of my thought process or things I was thinking about when I wrote the story. Sometimes it explains a bit of the story, and sometimes it doesn't. It just gives you a kind of look at parts of Japan, or the reason why things happen the way they do in the story in relation to how they would work in Japan. So that's my books. That's my things. I haven't been writing a lot recently. It's, you know, I really have to be in a certain mindset to write things, and haven't been there for a while. But eventually I'll get back on it and put another book out. But in the meantime, that's what I got. That's my most recent stuff. I have some older things that I'm not showing, but you know, that's in the past. These are the more recent things. So yeah, that'll do it for today. So hope you guys were interested in my writing stuff, and there'll be links to that stuff below if you're interested in that. Most of it is pretty cheap if you just want to get Kindle books though. So like, most of it is like $1, except for All Lights, which is a bit more on Kindle, but not much more. But you can, of course, you can get physical copies. There's physical copies for all these things, just in case. But if you're just interested, just want to give it a try, it's, you know, check it out on Amazon. So yeah, next time I'll do something else. So see you guys tomorrow.